Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about my role working as a strategy and insights intern for a digital creative agency called 360i during my time away this year in Chicago. I obtained the internship through a program at Northwestern called the Chicago Field Studies Program, and its aim is to facilitate international students with the opportunity to work for reputable organizations in the heart of Chicago in order to understand the dynamics of how an American modern workplace functions. So, alongside this, I would also have a 3 hour class per week where I was joined by other colleagues of mine on the program. And we looked at what it actually means to work by examining philosophical texts such as Marx's Alienation of Labor, looking at TV and film resources such as Mad Men, as well as understanding the interdisciplinary nature of our work by talking to each other regarding the diverse range of organizations that we were all interning for and the nuances of them as well. The role entailed me working with a lead strategist on campaigns for brands such as Champion, Lean Cuisine, DSW, and Hanes. For example, Champion were undergoing a huge brand relaunch for their 100th year anniversary, and my role with this account involved helping design a logo for said relaunch by looking through the archived history of Champion and finding a way to creatively translate the brand's position after 100 years of achievements in an artistic format, all through team building and networking workshops with organizations such as Snapchat. So strategy also went hand in hand with data analytics, and that is where the insights team were particularly useful in helping me. A lot of the strategy drafts were based on market and individual consumer research through using third-party data partnerships that 360i have, as well as taking the initiative to conduct our own research. So for example, for Hanes, we wanted to look at what men aged 18 to 34 thought about the brand by comparing it to its competitors who were thriving in the underwear industry. And as a result, we sent out and paid for our own Google Metrics surveys to obtain said research. I think what benefited me in both of these roles was the fact that I had previous research experience in both quantitative and qualitative methods through my modules at UCL, such as interdisciplinary research methods and quantitative methods. So the ability to extrapolate trends using large amounts of data and then finding ways in which this aided the brand's mission or future goals involved a lot of critical thinking via an interdisciplinary approach versus approaching the problem with a single solution and applying it to each and every brand that we worked with. I also learned very quickly that the importance of networking and communicating with brands through strategic questioning and observation of the brand's own ethnographic standards and not just 360i's. So whilst my classes at UCL were just as beneficial to me, I also valued many of the skills I obtained from classes at Northwestern, such as communication and technology, as it helped me understand the ways in which assumptions feed into the way that we communicate, especially in a US format. And this is something that a creative agency like 360i had to be really careful about, especially in their clear, simple, but effective strategy layouts that set them apart from their other marketing competitors. And these competitors included agencies in Chicago such as Torque Digital, JB Chicago, and Hustlemore. But Dentsu Network is a Japanese international advertising, PR, and stockholding company that regulates 360i and its branches that are based in Atlanta, Chicago, LA, New York, and London. So this was especially significant in the way that the agency approached its creative strategies. All agencies under the 360i umbrella were essentially collaborating with one another and utilizing skills from their abundance of teams that the Chicago branch lacked in. So for example, the creative team in New York would work with us to try and translate strategy presentations into a visual layout for the client, either for their main campaign, for their social media, or for their influencer marketing. The economic climate was especially linked with the political climate at the time, especially due to the election, and a lot of brands started to be more cognizant of their corporate social responsibility in their mission versus the amount of dollars that a single campaign would generate. So brands became more increasingly concerned about their lasting impression on consumers from a legacy standpoint, and as a result, 360i were also committed in endorsing the same ideals. So I know I've talked about these major brands that we worked with, but there was also a huge emphasis on partnering with various nonprofit organizations in order to provide them with the necessary educational tools and resources. and I often took part in 360i's Den workshop, which essentially trains these nonprofits in understanding how to successfully market themselves. And this ethos transcended into the organizational culture of 360i, even in the structure of our workspaces. Our desks were arranged in a way that encouraged collaboration across departments, and versus just keeping to yourself in a cubicle. And even as an intern, I felt that my contributions were valued, especially during our research on issues that affect millennials and students, both on a local and international perspective. I was often asked to take the lead on presentations, and it was the first time I'd felt like I'd worked in a commercial sector where I wasn't expected to adhere to a hierarchy per se. I think the internship definitely enhanced my confidence in challenging individuals in the industry by identifying gaps in their knowledge that I was more aware of because of my own social demographic and experience as an international student. It also enabled me to ask more thought-provoking questions and allowed me to realize that there's no shame in saying, I don't know. My CFS class simultaneously helped me critique the aspects of working that I wasn't necessarily discussing in the workplace. So, for example, how is sexism and diversity addressed in the organization, and was the company making an active effort to address those issues? It forced me to also realize that whilst I enjoyed working in an office environment, a lot of my time was spent just sitting in front of a computer. So as a result, I realized that for future employment, I would need something that is a bit more dynamic and not solely research-based. But as a result, this experience at 360i has motivated me to seek out those questions and challenge myself in whatever endeavors I choose to pursue in the future. Thank you.